Hi, it's Matt with TomatoMilling.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about the MR0 half horsepower tomato milling machine. This machine is made by Fabio Leonardi in Italy. They've been around for nearly 100 years. They are considered the tomato milling machine of choice for professionals, restaurants, and industries that need to process tomatoes. This is the MR8. It is also a half horsepower. This is the covered version of the MR0. Both these units can be used as tomato milling machines or as meat grinders. Typically the way Fabio Leonardi markets it is the uncovered goes to the tomato milling machine, the covered goes as a meat grinder. However, the meat grinder attachments and tomato milling attachments can be used on either machine, and I will demonstrate that in a little bit. The Fabio Leonardi MR0 half horsepower tomato milling machine is very popular in high usage residential or small businesses. Pizza shop owners absolutely love this unit. It's great for their production levels. They don't produce tomato sauce all day long, but they do produce a good quantity and need a machine that can work quickly and efficiently. Typically it is paired with the SP3 attachment. The SP3 attachment is the medium-sized attachment of the Fabio Leonardi tomato milling attachments. The other one it can be paired with is the SP5. As you can see, there's a much bigger attachment. Typically this gets paired with the 1 horsepower or the 1.5 horsepower machines, but because Fabio Leonardi's motor attachment point is universal, this can fit on it as well. The difference between the SP5 and the SP3 is all about production rate. The SP5 has a larger production rate because the screen is 6 3/4 inches long, the diameter is 3 inches at the base, and the diameter of the neck is 2 3/4 inches. This means more tomatoes can fit in the spiral at a time, and larger tomatoes can go into the neck. In fact, plum tomatoes can be loaded in without even cutting them up. The SP3 has a 5.5 inch long screen, a 2.5 inch diameter spiral, and a 2 1/4 inch neck. Most tomatoes will have to be quartered to fit down this. You won't be able to fit as much in here, so the production rate will slow down. However, when pairing it with a half horsepower motor, this will increase the life expectancy of your motor. The larger will have to work harder, and on that size motor, it will put more stress and wear and tear on it. The main reason we recommend the SP3 to be paired with the MR0 is they match each other in terms of rate of production. Before we had mentioned that this is great for high usage residential and small businesses, the rate of production that will come out of an SP3 attachment matches that type of usage. So the SP5 can still work perfectly fine with this motor, but the rate of production that this will put out doesn't really match the application as much. The tomatoes will go much faster through there, and you don't need this price level. This price level will do just fine for that application. Whether buying the MR0 uncovered or covered, what you're always going to receive from TomatoMilling.com is a tomato milling attachment, which includes the screen, the spiral, and the body, a trough for catching the tomato puree, a hopper, and a plunger to push the tomatoes down into the hopper. One accessory that is extremely popular with our customers is a meat grinder attachment. As I was discussing before, Fabio Leonardi machines were made universal, so both tomato milling attachments and meat grinder attachments can attach to the same motor. This makes your one motor have two purposes in your household. The meat grinder attachment is a cast iron body, comes with a hopper, comes with... One highlight of the Fabio Leonardi I wanted to share with you is the lack of a gasket. A lot of tomato milling machines out there use gaskets where the threading meets the body. The problem with doing this is gaskets have to be made of rubber. Over time they can build up bacteria, they can dry out and crack, they will have to be replaced eventually. Fabio Leonardi decided we won't put a gasket in here. We will let any liquids run through the threading and just give a tray that gets positioned underneath the body, so any liquid that comes through the threading is caught and added to your puree. The liquid is what you're catching for your puree anyway. This eliminates the need for a rubber gasket, eliminates the need for a replacement part that would be bought yearly. Now I'm going to show you how to assemble the tomato milling attachment to the tomato milling motor. First thing I want to show you is something that confuses a lot of people. A clockwise turn actually loosens the threading of the screen. A counterclockwise motion tightens the threading. This is counterintuitive to what we know from most bolts that we use in our house. However, with a tomato milling machine, it is quite necessary. This is because when the spiral turns, if you had it so clockwise tightened, this turn of the spiral would actually loosen your screen and eventually would come off during production. So it has to go opposite, and so it will tighten your screen instead of loosen your screen. Another common question we get in assembly is, how do you get this female side of the bolt to line up with the male side of the bolt on the drive shaft of the motor? Easiest way is assemble the screen to the body, spring and spiral and all. Don't tighten it down all the way. Then you can turn the screen and it will turn the bolt. You would line it up to where it needs to be. Slide it into place. Turn it up and you're assembled. The stainless steel hopper, I'm going to take you through the process of what happens to the tomatoes to become your tomato puree. First, you will cut up your tomatoes and feed them into the stainless steel hopper. You just need to cut up the tomatoes to the size that will fit down the hopper hole. Now I'm going to remove the hopper so you can see inside. As the tomatoes proceed down the neck, they encounter a spiral. The spiral is largest inside the body and gets progressively smaller as it travels down the screen. As the tomatoes fill the spiral, they get pressed firmer and firmer against the screen, forcing the tomato juice and the tomato pulp to come out through here and down the trough to keep, and the seeds and the skin to go out the end to your refuse pile. Your screen is made of stainless steel. The rest of the body is cast iron. The cast iron is a softer material than the screen. On your first run, it's very important to note that the spiral is being pushed firmly against the screen with a spring inside. This is important because this makes the tomato get pressed firmly against the screen so you get as much juice and pulp out of the tomato as possible. However, on the first run, because it is metal on metal contact, there will be some metal shavings as the spiral conforms to its new screen. So the first batch, you're going to want to use old tomatoes, wet bread, or something that you don't mind throwing away because you're going to discard it. Additionally, after the first run, on subsequent runs, you want to put a light coating of olive oil on the spiral where it meets the screen. This is because the tomatoes act as a lubricant. The tomatoes are loaded in, however the spiral is going to start turning and it's going to be metal on metal contact prior to the tomatoes, which are going to lubricate it during the process. Thank you for watching our video. At TomatoMilling.com, we are dedicated to tomato milling machines. We have parts available for all the machines we carry. We have instructional videos, informational videos, instruction manuals, and a well-educated staff to help you make the right choice for your situation. We have staff that is available 7 days a week. We have phone support. We have live chat. We have email support. However you want to reach us, we're available and we have your answers that you need. Thank you and have a wonderful day.